timer or something? Just make it how long we have.
Makes me so uncomfortable.
I feel like someone's watching me. I'm not.
I hope there are not like too many awkward silences where like, or it's just written and we should also like say something.
Apologize in advance for the rest of this.
How long, I mean, how much are we gonna do now? Like how long is it gonna work for?
I don't think it should be more than about 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I'll like
Yeah, 'cause I have to go at like 3:15.
make a signal that
I think it should
we
be
reached 20 minutes.
It's funny.
Or whenever everybody's like they're done and they don't have anything else.
Does someone want to do like an intro? Did I ever want to talk about?
Yeah.
We can show that in our
Like in a
presentation though.
presentation.
Because we'll
Like
just.
the intro will be in the presentation.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
true.
And then we
Yeah.
can incorporate
We
these
really
questions.
just need clips, which is good, because
Is
that
that
would be
recording
really
now?
awkward.
Yeah. Hello. Today we're going to
It's on the table, it's on the camera.
Should we just have like, I don't know, how are we going to split up the questions?
We can just like start
We
passing.
can hand it around and everybody can read a question.
So, yeah,
and
I mean, we can-
discuss
Oh,
it.
we can make a big pile and
Yeah, we
then.
can hand it to one person and then we can like just distribute them around and do.
Okay.
As they do it in class.
Okay, cool. Got two
Like,
questions
guys,
on
you
this.
can't know
Mine
which
are
questions are mine.
Yeah, mine is too. Usually when we do this in class, I take the time to write it in all caps so someone can read it, but
Mhm.
this time, so sorry guys.
Pass around.
Oh, you're gonna have like a whole bunch
Just
of
like-
questions.
Just throw it in there.
Don't leave it up.
Oh, we could, because then it would be really obvious like that we have.
Oh, yeah, we could do that. It'd be so cool. We could just pick from the middle, right?
Yeah, it would be really cool.
Really good there.
Yeah. Wrote one too. And mine is bad and mine is not good.
Are we just picking one?
Well, we'll go around, no, we'll go around the circle and we'll pick one up and discuss it.
Oh, there's going to be so many questions though.
We don't need to do all of
The
them.
gap,
Yes,
overlap
yeah, we
is
can
good.
focus on a couple. Like, just pick one that you like and then
Did
we
you
can.
guys, I wrote a lot of questions on one sheet, did you guys like?
Yeah, I did that too.
Oh,
I did 3
okay.
questions on one.
Oh, okay.
Bit.
We'll figure it out.
Alright, should we just trade and then you can read whatever one you think is the best? There you go, take all mine.
And this one is mine.
That's mine, mine's not good.
Okay, there we go. Alright, guys.
2. Oh, okay.
I think I got time.
Sorry.
Yeah, I can read it.
Okay.
Wait, I only have one.
Do you, okay, do you
Oh, dude.
I only have one too. Oh,
Should've
So it's okay.
I don't know. Well, this one has 3 on it. yeah.
Rebel, okay. I thought that said pre-value.
Yeah, mine's called prevalent as well.
So should I read all of mine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or the one that.
Or yeah, just read like the one that you think is the best.
Project.
Can you project?
We
Okay.
can do like 2 rounds. We'll go around, read questions, talk, and then if nothing happens for a while, then we can read more questions.
Yeah.
We'll just keep going until we get the next.
Oh, are we also reflecting upon these questions?
What?
Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah,
go
we're-
read the question and we'll discuss it.
Okay.
Do hookups affect women the same way as men?
Do you feel like sex is a part of dating?
I have. Has hookup culture evolved recently as a result of social media, or has it always been prevalent because it's only recently been brought to attention?
I see that for me.
Is that what it says?
I don't know.
Right,
It
we're
says,
really serious.
Has hookup culture evolved recently as a result of social media, or has it always been prevalent but has only recently been brought to the attention of mass media?
Okay, that was close.
I was trying to do that active listening thing, and then she just made it up. I was like, I lost it. I think we should be more serious about this because
Should
if
we
we're like
start off?
laughing all over.
Here's again?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay,
And
You wanna-
once
you
again, we're
wanna
not
do it
showing
again?
anything, so
Yeah.
we're just getting
Fine.
fun.
you wanna do it again?
No.
Oh, you can just go,
Okay.
yeah.
Is hookup culture more prevalent now than in the past generations? Does anyone agree with this?
That was fine. Why is there a double standard when it comes to girls hooking up versus guys hooking up?
In the college dating hookup, in the college dating hookups and dating. Alright, I'm gonna.
All bad.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if you
In the LA Times article, they mentioned that a double standard governs college because although sex is casual, a woman with too many hookups can be deemed a slut. Why does this double standard exist for men and women? Do you think it would ever change? Sorry.
What role does alcohol play in hookup culture? Does this lead to more sexual assault?
We can actually talk about.
Yeah. I think like mine and yours
Yeah,
are
the
very
ones
similar.
that-
Like having a double standard.
That was like a
I
common
think the
thread,
major
yeah.
question is that why is there a stigma for women more than there is for men?
That was also touched on, like in, I think that LA Times article, it said like,
No, no, in the video, the guy was like, oh, like, I wish I was going to college now because in the 90s, like, women actually had self-respect and they would get kind of flowers first before they would
Psycho Mike.
Psycho
That would be true.
But yeah, I think also,
like,
I think also in the LA Times article, they talk about a double standard, like, that there's no, like, if a girl has too, like, hooks up with too many guys, she's a slut, but there's no, like, equivalent word for if a guy hooks up with, like, a lot of girls. I mean, like, or there's no bad word
Yeah,
for
like,
it.
I want to say like for guys that hook up with many girls are like praised, you know? They're like,
Yeah.
it's
oh,
like, or it's like entertaining, at least
Yeah.
it's not like shamed.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, haha, like, he does this, but like if girls do it, like, definitely slut shaming, she's a slut,
Yeah.
like, everyone knows it. So, yeah.
Why do you guys think that it's this way? Any thoughts on that?
I think it kind of goes back to, we mentioned it in class a couple weeks ago, but someone was saying, they were like, yeah, like I was always taught, like from when I was younger, like that like a girl's worth is like in her virginity, and like that's like what you are, like where like your worth comes from, and like I feel like it kind of probably stems back to that like older views on sex, that kind of thing, but.
Yeah, I feel like it's really an age-old type of thing. Like way back in the day, like when women were really just wives and they like took care of the house and stuff like that. Probably came off bad, but I mean, like, you know, like dating back, like all the way back to like start of civilization, and it just kind of propagated.
I think definitely it is kind of like you said, where it's just that's where like their worth kind of was initially, I guess, labeled as like whether or not you can go without having sex. And for guys, it's almost like a thing where you're praised because that's almost like an accomplishment, because then your worth is whether or not you can like find a woman or and provide and be like aggressive. And I think the nature of like hooking up is almost an aggressive kind of thing, so then guys get praised for like doing it.
Yeah, it's like more masculine to like, it's like to prove your masculinity, you know, but like I guess the other way around, like for women, it's not like you're proving how feminine you are by like, having I don't know. It's like,
Yeah.
I guess another double standard.
I also think that some of it kind of comes from the fact that like if a girl sleeps with a lot of guys, like they'll be like, they'll like feel bad or like feel like guilty or whatever, like because I know a girl who is pretty casual about these kinds of things, and like because she just like owns it and like doesn't feel bad about it, people don't really like call her slut. They're just like, well, that's just like the way she is, you know. So it's kind of interesting to like see both ways that it can happen. It might just depend on the person, I guess, but I don't know.
I think it's interesting you bring this up because there's always this discussion about like how it affects women as compared to men. And I mean, the general thought is that it does affect women more adversely than men. I mean, there can be physical consequences like unwanted pregnancies for the woman. I mean, the man can just go out of it easily. He wouldn't have to bear that. And also the emotional kind of consequences more on the woman. I mean, there are kind of researches that shows that the guilt and shame, and again, that stems from the societal pressure that, okay, this was wrong. And for the woman, it binds on her more heavily, I guess.
It's kind of interesting, kind of unrelated, but back to what we were talking about, how views have changed, like even since like way back when. In the one article that we read, it said like in the 60s and 70s, like I guess it was kind of like the bridge going from like, oh, like women or a woman is just at home and like her virginity is like really precious. So then like women were kind of stepping outside of that box, but they still were, you know, being watched. And like in colleges and in dorm rooms, I guess they said the door had to be open, and like I guess the woman was still being watched. So then there was like this movement to get away from that. But now I guess it went too far in the one direction, so women are being slut shamed. So it's interesting to how we're like trying to like progress, but not progress too much, and like all of these other issues are coming up like as time goes on. So that's something to think about.
I guess that kind of leads to your question about how, is there a difference, like how do guys feel about hookups and how do girls feel about hookups? Is there a difference between the genders?
Yeah, it's a good point. Like, is there, on an individual level, does a man personally feel the same about having hooked up with someone as a woman? Because like you said, that, if you know someone who, you say she just owns it, and then people don't bother her, but does it really just stem from the fact that, maybe people feel, like a man and a woman feel the same about hooking up, but for some reason it's all forced on them by society, or is it that they actually, a man and a woman feel differently after hooking up and that kind of?
I think it's a stigma generated by society.
Yeah, because there's like not that many girls who would do
Exactly.
that and just like
Exactly.
not care. It's like they would care about their image or like how they would think like people would view them. It just comes from the stigma. Yeah.
I mean, like one TV show like pops up to my mind like right away, like Entourage. You guys know about that? It's about this guy that's like, becomes famous and he sleeps with like a bunch of girls, and like, in
It's like
society
one of the
they,
most
right?
celebrated
Right,
shows
like,
of all time.
everyone watches it because they're like, man, that's awesome, right? All the guys at least are like, man, I want to be like that guy.
And yeah, there's not a lot of women who are like, yeah, I want to be like that
you
guy.
see, I really want
I
to
wanna
be
be a
that one.
slut
girl.
like her.
I want to be
Entourage.
strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it has to deal a lot with society.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, it really also does depend on like the personality of the person. And I think there are so few girls who are willing to just be like, yeah, whatever. And so then, like, because they're like that, they feel better about it. And also then the people around them, like, I feel like that makes them feel awkward because if they like shame her, then they're gonna be like, they're gonna feel bad about themselves for actually shaming her because she doesn't care. So, I mean, if every girl, every woman had that type of personality, then yeah, but it's just, what society like places on people, and a lot of people just fall prey to that stigma.
I feel like a lot, and I feel like most men, someone asked like what's the difference between the way men feel about hookups and women feel about hookups. I feel like most men kind of just act like that. They just like, okay, they're like, oh, whatever. Like they don't go home and like feel bad because they slept with a girl last night. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't happen. Or maybe it doesn't.
It's just interesting to think like what makes, a woman feel bad about it. Like even before anybody else knows about it, or before anybody has taken to shaming them, like what makes you feel bad about it? And I guess it does make sense that maybe it's just the fear of that makes you feel bad about it, just because you kind of know the society's kind of been built up around, like making slut shaming okay, like it's in TV, it's in everything. So it's just kind of interesting that even before, something like that, even if something like that never gets out in the open, it's still inside you. A lot of people just feel badly about it because that's kind of how you're supposed to feel.
I think at times, at least it was like, I guess more surprising to me because I didn't realize until like coming here, is that a lot of times the onus of like the act of having sex outside of like sexual assault and like rape and stuff is like put on like the woman, like the event is like in her control because like, I guess it's assumed that all guys want to, so it's like if women allow it to happen, then it's like your fault that we hooked up or like it was something that women could do. So I think that kind of also makes it where it's almost like two people making a decision, hopefully consciously.
I think it's a mutual decision, right?
Yeah.
It can't be like one-sided,
Yeah.
and it's not, you know.
It's not.
It's interesting, like what you said about how it is really like put on the woman, because I've heard of situations where it's like the opposite, and like the girl, you know, you hear about like, oh, but she was totally like preying on him or whatever, and which is totally wrong, and there's probably like technically like legal things that go along with that, but it's so surprising to hear. Like I remember I was like, oh my gosh, just because you so typically hear.
It's like
Yeah,
whenever people
right.
talk about like rape, and they're like, yeah, well, if someone goes like, oh, men get raped too, people just like laugh at it. It's
Yeah.
like, not
I guess
like,
it's because it's so uncommon, but like, I think when, like, it's like easier for a woman to seem like aggressive than it is for a man. I mean, like, because like I guess like it's more noticeable when a woman is aggressive because they're not like typically supposed to be in that way.
I think this ties a little bit back to the question that I read here about alcohol's effect on hookup culture, because like we kind of read an article a couple weeks back that was talking about just the prevalence of binge drinking in college and kind of how that ties into sexual assault. And I feel kind of like the prevalence of hookup culture and, you know, like pretty serious amounts of alcohol consumed on college campuses really kind of blur the lines for something like sexual assault, because it's easy to chalk it up and say, well, it's okay, you know, that happens all the time in college, people hook up all the time, and oh, they were drunk, but that happens all the time in college. But it really does kind of make a gray area between, you know, a hookup and what could be sexual assault.
I think that's why like a lot of people are like don't report sexual assault too. Like I mean, even if like they're not sure, you know.
Even
because-
having experienced
Yeah.
it.
Like
you
people
may
don't
not be
know
sure.
because you people are because of like alcohol or because
well,
of like,
sometimes like you might like feel bad because you're like, oh, well, it was like my own fault, 'cause, like I was too drunk, like whatever, and like I don't know.
and like responsibility is like I don't know. You're like I think that like sometimes like a woman can feel more bad because you be like, oh, I was so drunk last night. Like why did I do that? You know. I don't know.
Yeah, it reminds me of what like the girl in the video said she watched. I think she said something like that alcohol helps you say yes to like
Yeah.
hookups.
Yeah.
And it just made me think if that is real consent. I mean, if you're like too drunk to like decide if this is the right thing to do or not. I mean, would you count that as real consent?
Yeah, the way that she phrased that, like alcohol makes you say yes, is like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's
And, but it's like, yeah, and it's also kind of true, which I think is what makes it so like such a shocking statement. And also, it kind of ties into, I think it was in the LA Times article, and we've definitely read it before, the statistic that, what is it, like 1 in 4, 1 in 5 college-aged women are victims of sexual assault. So it's like, if there is this whole group of women who are like, oh, like that might have been assault, but I'm not sure, I was just drinking too much, and this whole like gray area, it's like how high is that number actually from both the female side and the male side, if there is that gray area that people aren't even sure like what is sexual assault. So
I also like got really offended by one of the articles that we read about that, when it was like, you know what, we really should do, like not educate like victims, like not like, you know, like have programs so people know like what to do, like they're like the real solution is women should stop drinking so much. And I was like, that is just so offensive, like because the other thing is like sexual assault, if it's between a man and a woman and a man rapes a woman, it's because the man is forcing himself upon her, it's his like, not decision, but like his actions that are doing it. Like definitely the solution is not women drinking less, you know what I mean?
and if he's not forcing, then like what does it matter?
Yeah, it does, and in any case, it could
Yeah.
happen if you were sober, so it's just kind of like, I
I
don't know,
don't
that
think
really
that-
offended me.
I don't think the article tried to put forward this as a solution, but as a way of like just taking care of yourself. like, I thought the solution that they posed was like education, of course, but it's going to take a long time. So for women who are present in a college campus right now, should try and be more careful if they want to avoid rape. So, I mean, I took it like that.
I mean, yeah, it is like important to like know, like be aware when you're drinking a lot, and like have people look out for you and look out for other people. But like, it shouldn't be the woman's or like the victim, whether they're man or woman, a responsibility to like avoid it rape by like drinking less. I think
Something to
because it's like
sorry, go ahead.
it's like not something that they can. It's like, oh, this is gonna happen, so I should look out for it. You know, it's not something that's gonna.
Yeah, I think everybody, I mean, like, in general, everybody should, like, not, like, drink until, like, you're unconscious, like, but, like, I don't think drinking less, like, that just seems kind of, like, a very, like, one-sided, or somebody's very conservative, like, just, was like, oh, drink less, because, like, that person probably doesn't enjoy drinking, but some people just like drinking with their friends and stuff, and they shouldn't have to be paranoid about whether or not something's going to have to happen if they have more than too many cups or something.
Something interesting to think about, which relates back to what you said, that quote in the article, like women should just drink less. It is interesting to think about, like, because you sometimes have that shame of like, oh, I drank too much, like it's my fault. If you like were sober or only had one drink in that situation, it would be so much easier to see like you wouldn't be like, oh, I drank too much, like it was kind of my fault. You would be like, I was assaulted. It would be so much of a clear, yeah. And it's kind of like that's the fault of like both parties because it shouldn't have happened in the first place, and then like you kind of like bring your own shame of like drinking into it, and then it just adds a whole new dimension. So maybe instead of saying, oh, women should just drink less, it's trying to like eliminate the dimension of, you know, just having too much to drink and focusing exclusively on the issue of sexual assault. But I still think like the way it was worded, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that's.
Because that's what I feel like. Maybe it's just like a kind of like the culture of like I don't know, like wealthy like college men, but I feel like a lot of times they're like pretty entitled. Not all obviously, but like if like someone goes like if a girl goes back to a guy's apartment and then decides like she doesn't want to have sex with them, then they're like, well, you came back to my apartment, like why the hell?
Oh,
Like,
that's so true.
It's like why do you? I don't know, like.
Expectations.
Yeah, that's so true. That's like that is so ridiculous. And then like that also kind of goes back to like the personality type of the girl, because you have to be like strong enough to put it on yourself and be like, that guy's absolutely ridiculous. Like why would he say that anyway? And kind of like not feel bad about it, but.
Especially if they say the whole thing like no means no, but like in that situation when like if someone is like pressuring you like that, like it's pretty, I don't know.
Yeah, that's so true.
I think definitely, like, as far as, like, even, like, more so, like you were saying, putting the responsibility on women, I feel like would make it worse, because I know, at least, like, personally, like, I remember, like, a couple summers ago, I, like, left my, like, apartment door at my internship, like unlocked or whatever, and, like, I didn't even, like, leave it unlocked, my roommate left it unlocked, and somebody, like, broke in or whatever, so then, like, I woke up and, like, the guy, like, ran out or whatever, but it was kind of interesting because I didn't call the police for like 10 minutes because I was like, I don't know if this is a crime. And I did leave my door unlocked. I was being stupid. So I like sat there and then he was like, oh no, we're never going to find him. You should have called immediately. I was like, but I didn't know it was my phone.
Yeah.
Wait, so you first killed yourself? What?
Yeah, because like, so like I was like sleeping and then like, because like he was like in my room, and, like I woke up and then it was like, I like kicked him and then he like ran. And then it was just like, but then like, at first, I feel like initially I was like, that didn't happen, but then it was just like, I should probably call the police. But nothing happened, and it is my fault. Yeah, it was like, the door was unlocked, I should have checked it before I went to sleep.
Well, it's like I shouldn't have drank too much.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, that's
So
so.
with that, good. Extra.
So I think definitely like trying to put more responsibility on the victim would just make it worse, because then there'll be more people like, I mean, I did drink, when it's like, no, it still should never have happened, type of thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. As soon as you start trying to say that some of the responsibility is on the woman to not drink, then that kind of adds a whole nother area where the blame can fall. Like, oh, it was your responsibility not to drink, so if you drank, it's kind of your fault, which is just obviously not fair.
And I guess it's kind of like a short-term solution to like a larger like systemic like cultural problem, you know, because like rape culture and like whatever. But like, I don't know, I just feel like it won't make that much of an impact, I guess.
I mean, the same argument can go for guys too, but like, you know, when guys drink, they get more aggressive, like it's proven. And like, by saying, oh, girls shouldn't get like drunk, like guys shouldn't drink, so that, you know, to prevent them from getting aggressive and like doing these things that, like, might lead to sexual assault.
That kind of generalizes that any guy
Right.
who gets drunk gets aggressive and assaults, which like also is true, so.
So, I see a lot of flaws in that.
So would you guys say that the hookup culture is leading to more rape or sexual assault because it kind of blurs the line, especially when you're drunk, that was this like a casual hookup or was this like a sexual assault?
Yeah, definitely does. Because also in nature of itself, just like for how much it happens, like would increase the. Does that make sense? Like just like because people are hooking up more and like whatever, like the incidences of sexual assault would obviously increase, I guess.
Kind of an interesting thought. Like, I don't know if it has like any real base, but so where we were talking earlier about the slut shaming and stuff like that, it could even be possible that, you know, with like hookups being pretty prevalent and lots of times alcohol being present, and then with the slut shaming that comes afterward, that some people might even claim it might have been sexual assault because it would make it easier on them, right, in a society where it's so frowned upon to be involved in these hookups. So then if you're getting a lot of heat for it, it might just be easier for some people to break down and say it was sexual assault.
Well, that's what happened at one of the one of the fraternities that had like the rape case. Like they were, I don't know if this is necessarily true, but people were saying about it. They were like, oh yeah, well she just like was too drunk and like realized that it was like that she didn't want to have sex, that she regretted having sex with him. So like she said it was sexual assault. And I was like, wow, like that's so messed up, you know?
Yeah, it sounds bad, but at the same time, it's kind of like where the social construct is that, you know, you're a really bad person. You know, some people, it kind of falls on them and they think like, you know, I'm a really bad person for letting that happen. And maybe they try to shift the blame on someone else. So I feel like even something like that could increase the number of sexual assault cases, whether or not it actually was a sexual assault case, like in somewhere like a college campus.
So to like prevent that, there should be less like blaming then. Like it
Yeah.
shouldn't be as like, because
Yeah.
then if someone didn't feel as bad, like feel bad just because of like whatever societal pressure, then.
It all kind of goes back
Yeah.
to the stigma we were talking
Yeah.
about at the beginning.
Yeah, it all
If those
connects
weren't
to that.
present, that could help a lot of problems that stem from it.
Yeah. I do remember a case from, I guess it was fall of like 2012, when there was like this string of sexual assaults on campus. One of them actually like wasn't, it ended up not being true. I think it was the one like on the bridge by the engineering quad. And there was like this string, like, yeah, a lot of them were true, but then one of them ended up like not being true. So it would be interesting. I mean, they obviously didn't reveal as many details as are apparent in this other case or rumored or whatever, but it is like, I don't know, just it adds that other, you know, maybe she like felt this pressure, this stigma, and
Yeah.
kind of like fell prey to that, so.
Because I don't really want to like switch the topic, but just because I don't know, I feel like we kind of dove really deep into sexual assault.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
But
Yeah, wasn't
Just
it
to
not
kind of
college
try to-
dating?
Just
Just
it
when
was about the
It
culture
was,
though, so
yeah.
yeah, that's fine.
I mean, people think like hookup culture is then taking away people's desire to like want relationships and stuff.
Yeah, it's like
Or maybe
affecting
like the
marriages.
nature of college helps take away that.
I think so, definitely. Like even from like me and like a lot of my friends when I was in college, and now that you know, a lot of my friends are done college and things like that, like so many of us are just kind of like whatever, like I don't want a relationship, like, and I'm not sure if that stems from hookup culture or just like general, you know, culture, like commitment phobia or whatever, but I mean, I would say these days, it's more prevalent than it used to be, that people are like, oh, I'm just like interested in like being me, like.
I don't know, I feel like too, I don't know, like, I feel like at Cornell, it's like really, or at least like the social circles like that I'm in, like, a lot of my friends like are dating, a lot of my friends are in relationships, which I feel like it's kind of counterintuitive to the hookup thing, but then I also go home and I talk to my friends from home and they're like, so all of your friends have boyfriends? Like, that's so weird, like, I literally know one person that's in a serious relationship, so like, I don't know if there's something about the nature of Cornell, or if you guys think that too, but.
I had a different experience, like, when I was, I guess, a sophomore and a junior. No, I guess it, like, went through phases. I guess, yeah, that would be, like, untrue for me to say I had a different experience with that, because there were periods of times where, like, it seemed like everyone, or a lot of people were in serious relationships, but then there was, like, another, like, period of time where everyone was, like, yeah, not like a free-for-all, but just everyone wasn't in a serious relationship, so.
I think sometimes, especially like this age, people either like coming out of like high school or like early in their college career, like go through like one of those like relationships where they really like love somebody. So then I think sometimes because like people are young, then they're like, I'm not gonna do anything, I'm just gonna be me type of thing. And I feel like at least those are the type of like, when I find like more aggressive women, a lot of times it's like because they've been through like some relationship where like a guy is like cheating on them, or they broke up with somebody they really like type of thing, and then now they're like I'm just gonna be me, and I'm get mine type of thing. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
Do you think that? Like hookup culture has changed, like whether or not like men or versus women like want a relationship. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I wouldn't say so. I mean, I would say like when people come to college, a lot of them are like immature. You know, they don't really know what they want, and like, you know, and that's why possibly they do hook up with other people. And like from these experiences, you can learn like, oh, I don't like this, or like, oh, I do like this. I want to do something different, things like that. So you learn from hookups.
And I don't know, I guess like Cornell's such like a big school also, it's like when you don't know that many people and you're just like going out, it's like, I don't know, I feel like it's something that like, in the beginning, it's like easier to do.
Mm-hmm.
And try and like actually.
As you get older,
and then you get older.
I know that like, everybody, you know, like when you first come to college, everybody says, you know, oh, like, it's going to be, you know, oh, you'd have so much more fun. Because, you know, when I came to college, I had been dating a girl who I dated all through high school. And everybody says, like, oh, you know, that's too bad. It'd be so much more fun if you weren't in a relationship. So, like, in a way, it kind of does, the hookup culture kind of does almost, I feel like anyway, encourage people to avoid a relationship. You know, just because everybody, the big idea is that, oh, you're gonna have so much more fun, you know, and like that's what college is, you know, you gotta do that. Like saying that being involved in the hookup culture is just part of the college experience. So in a way, I feel like it kind of does encourage people to avoid a real relationship, at least, you know, at the start of your college career.
I also feel like women do like definitely think that like men don't want relationships, so like a lot of the girls like will feel bad about it, and a lot of guys will just do it because like they're like, oh, like they don't want to date people anyway, so like this is like how like I can start something or whatever. It's like
I think it will also be interesting to see if like the people who are highly involved in the hookup culture during college like have trouble staying faithful to one partner like in the future. And if there's a difference between men and women who do that. Like just a random thought.
I think also like for people that come into college with like high school girlfriends or boyfriends or significant like people that they were talking to type of thing, then like it then brings in like long distance relationships a lot more, probably more so than like maybe after college where people probably tend to like where they in their local area type of dating arena.
It's like hookup culture that at that point probably encourage more cheating of like long distance, I guess.
It did mention in the one article, this is like kind of like off topic from long distance and everything, but that students like do actually want more relationships. I think it did. Does anyone remember that?
Yeah, there was one like.
And I forget the context that it was in, but it did say that, like, it was like an article about hookup culture. It was
There's
the
like a pressure of hookup culture that like people do want long-term relationships, but there's like, again, as you said, that college and hookup culture go hand in hand, and like you can't have fun in college without like hooking up casually.
Yeah, and also like what you said about like, oh, like they, like this idea that like the thing to do is like hook up and like they don't want a relationship, so therefore like in order to be part of culture and to have these like weird connections with people, like I have to do it too. So I guess it's a lot of it is just like the like thought of like that's how it is and like that's what like the media and everything makes it out to be, when in fact that might not be the case, and it's just kind of what everyone is thinking, so whatever, that's what everyone does.
Yeah. It could give people the impression, you know, like kind of like you were saying, that if you want to be involved with someone, you need to have a hookup with someone. Like there's really no option for a relationship regardless of what you want. So you just kind of have to fall in line.
Project.
Yeah, do whatever he's doing.
So it's all like a communication problem also.
Go with the crowd.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna say. Like the big negative with hookup culture, at least that I see, is like the lack of communication.
Like so ambiguous, dude.
Yeah, and people don't like communicate like fluently. And
Like, why do people do
exactly
this?
right.
Literally the most depressing thing about it.
It's like seriously sad.
So it normally ends up like bad for one party or the
Yeah.
other, right? So I feel like
Unless it was like a one night stand and you both like felt like really great about it. You're like,
That-
that's it, whatever.
that
like,
hardly
without,
ever
like,
happens,
it's,
you know?
It never happens.
like without communication, you can't establish like a.
Well, that was like the Tinder, whatever the Tinder like social media article was saying.
Yeah.
Like it's just like it's exacerbating the problem because like I don't know of communication.
Do you think that you can still have hookup culture while having communication?
Then you can be in a relationship.
Well, I know
Do something else.
someone that I know, okay, before he ever does anything with a girl, he asks them 3 questions, like, do you have like
Can't wait to hear this.
STDs or something? It's really messed up.
That's a fair question. I think it's
Right.
weird that when people say like that, like it offended if you ask that, if like.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
No,
what
one of my
And like,
friends
he
are.
establishes that like this is just a hookup, like there's no, you know,
No,
I'm not
nothing.
looking for a relationship. Maybe by like saying that before you do it, like would help. I don't know.
It does increase the communication if you're having that conversation.
Right.
It might put off someone like, excuse me, like.
Right, in mind, but.
Or else he finds the type of girl that he's like looking for that night if she's down with this like casual situation. Oh man, that's what I like kind of wrote in my question of it, like related to all of these like social media apps and like things like that. Like do people actually like that, or are they just doing it because like it's the thing to do, like it's like trendy? Like do people actually want to be like propagating hookup culture by way of these technologies? Like I feel like no. Yeah, I feel like Tinder, like especially, I keep referencing fall of 2012, but like that was when like Tinder like became a thing, and I remember like everyone on campus had it like as a joke, like people used it like completely as a joke, and then like it turned out it like is like a thing now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember when everyone was just like, oh haha, like everyone's on Tinder as a joke, like haha, this person's on Tinder, no one would actually use it, and now like people legitimately use it, which is horrifying. I think it's scary.
Yeah, like I mean, I have a friend who you know hooked up with someone via Tinder. He was at home over break one time, and like
I
he
hope
was
it's scary.
he
Like,
was
it's
a-
really
he was
weird.
a year older, right? And so like then he found out like he had never talked to her since, like ever, like no communication.
Tinder message.
So, no, just like met up with her one time and just never spoke with her again. And then he like found out, or he like saw on Facebook like that she was going to the same college he was the next year. And it's a state school, so it's huge.
Oh,
But he was just like, and then he was just like, oh, that was so dumb. And I was like, That's just such a dumb app.
Tinder success story though. One of my friends who's a Downy is dating a girl that he met from a Tinder date, and I still haven't met her yet at this point, but we all just call her Tinder girl.
You don't even know if she's really that.
Yeah, that's true. He might just be making it up.
Yeah, one of my, like,
Tinder could be paying you
they,
to say that.
when Grindr, the gay male version of Tinder, that was like before Tinder became popular and Grindr was really popular in like the gay male community, and he met this like awesome boyfriend on Grindr. Then everyone was like, ooh, like there's like a straight version Tinder. So like that kind of like became a thing, yeah. But
I have to like leave.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know,
We've got
I've, like-
36 minutes, so we're good.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I didn't
yeah.
want to like interrupt him.
Yeah, no, I didn't
I
know
think we're
that.
good. It's.
I think we have some
Everything got
good
recorded
plans.
properly.
He
Oh, yeah.
jumped in the middle.
I think we had a pretty good dialogue.
Is there like?
I think
a
the video
sound?
shouldn't be a problem, but maybe the sound, like, I don't
We
know.
might need to put little
Subtitles.
Yeah, we can all.
You can always just turn the volume way up.
That's awesome.
Oh, or we can, yeah, we can do subtitles.
All right, so
Whoever wants.
we will show this on like the projector.
You're right.
right?
Oh, my bad.
Like,
It's
the
only
speakers
close,
really
so it wouldn't be.
high, so. I guess we're gonna like have to work around it.
Yeah,
Oh, that
I
was good.
worried-
We got some good statements.
Yeah, I was worried we didn't get to Tinder because we were talking about sexual assault for the longest time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
think we talked about
Yeah, we got really in like the dialogue mode, like everyone was like, huh?
I feel like we could work it into the thing, because I think in like one of like the early articles, they also like mentioned like sometimes when you're in a dialogue, you can go off topic, but like you gotta just kind of let it go so that you can get deeper.
Yeah,
you can see where the dialogue
talk about
goes.
sexual assault, like, you know, it just happens.
Yeah, but like hookup culture and
But we never have.
I know.